Well, it puts the lotion on his skin, or else it gets the hose again. 1, 2, 3, 4. People sue, save my skin for people sue. Gonna wear it all over town. Gonna dig 'em up and skin 'em down and wear my people suit around. People suit is looking mighty sharp. Oh, a poor old Eddie loved the dead, dug up their grave, chopped off their heads, he made them into clothes he could wear. Well, this works of art was awful dark and red and evil, awful sharp. He crafted him an outfit debonair. It was a people suit, save my skin for people suit. Gonna wear it all over town. Gonna dig 'em up and skin 'em down and wear my people suit around. People suit is looking mighty sharp. Oh, well, it's society so divine, make people curtains, people wise. I'm sure that Martha Stewart would be proud. Well, his needlework drove him berserk, and old dang roll taught him a jerk. Go and we'll raise a glass and sing about. We're people suit, save my skin for people suit. Gonna wear it all over town. Gonna dig 'em up and skin 'em down and wear my people suit around. People suit is looking mighty sharp. Oh, dang, what the I need a shovel and some scissors, boys. Dig 'em up, skin 'em down, and wear my people suit all over town. Dig 'em up and skin 'em down and wear my people suit around. People suit is looking mighty sharp. Well, it puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again. It puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again. People suit is looking mighty sharp. People suit is looking mighty sharp.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders.
That's assault, that's assault, break that up, pop that there, that's assault, that's assault, break that up, pop that chair. These people are going to eject you from this line. That's assault, that's assault, it is, you cannot touch me like that. Oh, I will be telling you exactly what happened. Break that up, these people are going to eject you from this line. That's assault. We have video of her just touching. How did that tell? I will. Excuse me. Excuse me. That's assault. That chair. You cannot touch me like that. Break that up. Oh, I will be telling you. Break that up. That's assault. That's assault. That's assault. That's assault. Stop that chair here. We have video of her just. These people are going to eject you from this line. How did that show? I will assault. It is incredibly appropriate. I will. You cannot touch me like that. That's assault. Break that up. Stop that chair here. You cannot touch me like that. It is incredible. That's assault. Break that up. That's assault. Break that up. Stop that chair. Stop that chair. Stop that chair. These people are going to eject you from this line. Break that up. That's assault. Break that up. Break that up. Oh, I will. That's assault. Oh, I will be telling you exactly what happened. Stop that chair here. That's assault. Break that up. That's assault. Break that up. Stop that chair here. These people are going to eject you from this line. That's assault. That's assault. It is. You cannot touch me like that. Oh, I will be telling you exactly what happened. Break that up. These people are going to eject you from this line. That's assault. We have video of her just touching. How did that show? I will be. Excuse me. Excuse me. Break that up. That's assault. Stop that chair. You cannot touch me like that. Break that up. Break that up. Oh, I will be telling you. Break that up. That's assault. That's assault. assault. Stop that. That's assault. Stop that chair here. We have video for just how these people are going to eject you from this line of that show. I would. Assault. It is incredibly appropriate. I will. You cannot touch me like that. That's assault. Right there. Stop that chair here. Man, you cannot touch me like that. It is incredible. That's assault. Right there. That's assault. Right there. Stop that chair there. Stop that chair there. Stop that chair there. These people are. These people are going to eject you from this line. Right there. That's right there. That's right there. That's assault. Right there. Man. Right there. Oh, I will man. That's assault. That's assault. Oh, I will. That's assault. 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 Oh, I will. That's assault. 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 Oh, I will be telling you. That's assault. 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 Oh, I will be telling you exactly. Stop that character. That's assault. Right there. That's assault. That's assault. Oh, I will be telling you. That's assault. That's assault. Oh, I will be telling you. That's assault. 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 Oh, I will. That's assault. That's assault. That's assault. That's assault. That's assault. That's assault. That's assault.
God dang it, I was on mute, wasn't I? One day I'll unmute myself. Hello, turd. I see you're doing it. How is it? EB is edging. Darlene is here. She's been feeling out of sorts lately, so we all need to pray for her. We need her to be A-okay. We got to keep our Darlene above water, all right? That's why she gets on the roof, so she doesn't float. Hello, everybody. As you can see, I have banner today. We are not sponsored by Morgan & Morgan. It is a non-consensual sponsorship. However, I will pimp them because everyone else is. So if you've lost your goddamn mind, call Morgan & Morgan today. And if you're sick, call Borgen & Borgen. I've been sniffling and sneezing all day. I took a Sudafed. Let me tell you something. When you go to buy Sudafed, they tell you, at least they told me this, they go, are you sure you want to get this or do you want the good shit? That's exactly what they said to me. And I was like, what do you mean the good shit? Thinking they're going to lead me towards Zyrtec. It's going to be $20 more. No. I totally forgot. They put all that shit behind the counter because people used to make meth with it. Then they give it to the raccoons, which, by the way, I remembered the meth raccoon video tonight. We will be watching it again in our lead up. I have to say, that is true, darling. You can't lose what you never had, so you can't lose your mind, hun. But yeah, the real stuff. That's essentially what they told me. They were like, this is the stuff that's going to make you feel better. So I was like, fine. And I took one. And I feel awake. My sniffling stopped because it all came out in one big blob, like glob. It just shot out of my nose. I was like, oh, that feels better. And Hugin has been a little sick too. He had diarrheas. Okay. And we couldn't figure out why. I think it's because he ate a pecan outside again. You have to be careful. There's pecans all over Texas. Got to be careful. He had a little doggy Benadryl, and now he's knocked the fuck out. The visual is vivid, is it? Uh-oh. Vivid visuals? The other has now been proven petty, not much effect. Is it? It's not. Laura's here. Hi, Laura. Good to see you. I was talking to Laura earlier. I think you got my text, right? I think that I forgot. I brought this up once before, but I think I should have brought it up more. There is because a lot of you guys are like out job hunting right now, right? So there's a program that started probably 2 years ago. It was right after the pandemic. And it was an OSINT program. People trying to make OSINT a big thing, so much so that it's in schools now. And there are open source intelligence and cyber intelligence and digital forensic programs that have been opening up at community colleges across the country. There's one here in Austin. I think it's through ACC. If you sign up for it, you can actually get your bachelor's degree at the community college. Isn't that cool? So I was very mad about that personally, because I was like, that would have been awesome. If I hadn't already been balls deep in criminology, it would have been sick to go into that program. I did take 2 classes from the program, but it would have been nice to start it and finish it there and save $40K. But yeah, if you look into your local community colleges and look for any digital forensics programs, if you guys like to sit on the computer, if you're into that shit, if you want to work from home job, then I would highly recommend that. And like, yeah, it sounds crazy. Like, especially if you're over 30, it's like, oh, go back to college. Oh, good advice. Oh, where am I going to get the money for that? No, go back to community college or go for the first time. It's so much faster. You can literally get your bachelor's degree and I think 2 semesters and 2 summer courses, unless you're in like a trimester state, then you can likely get it all done a lot quicker. You can make 70K and up. 70K is for like the bottom ring of it. Like you're just barely doing nothing, you know? So I think that you can also take it all online, which is cool. So you don't have to go into classes and like compete with 22-year-olds that still have all of their chemicals in their brains, you know? And it's actually a lot easier, I think, when you're older to comprehend a lot of the basic concepts. And if you've been computing for a long time, for over 2 decades, it should actually come quite easier to you, in my opinion, at least for me. I didn't start learning coding until later in life, until like probably 10 years after college. Like I already knew some things, but they weren't really things that will get you by in the real world in real jobs. They're mainly like goofy stuff, fucking around. So like once you get to know that shit when you're older, you can do so much with it. You can apply for so many jobs. There's just, yeah, community college is so much cheaper. And they have more scholarships and programs to give away because people don't tap into them as quickly as at universities. Because think about it, universities are so much more expensive. So all the scholarship programs are like tap the fuck out early on. But community colleges, they're really cheap. And a lot of people can't afford them. So if you can't for some reason, or if you like, especially younger kids whose parents will pay for it, or who like get their first string of student loans and they take out student loans for community college. Like a lot of people do that. You shouldn't do that. The amount of scholarships for people over 30, Laura, are incredible. There's so many that here in Austin, they had excess surplus. Like they were begging people, come get these fucking funds, come get these Texas grants, and almost these Texas Grant Smith Ellis's. Almost every single state has its own grant program. And they reserve a certain portion for people who are going back to school after having not been in it. And speaking of school, let me make myself big here. We'll get back to the intro in a minute. Heed, for those of you who don't know, Mia's son, Heed. He's wonderful. We call him Heed because that's what Mia calls him. And you did your master's in Austin, Rubicon, at UT. Did you love it? Your son went to ASU for 50%. Thank you, Obama. That's the new, instead of thank you, Paul, it's thank you, Obama. That'll piss off so many people, and I love that. Hello, Noel, number 19. Got the notification. Thank you for being here. Yeah, there's lottery money for college, says Angela. Yeah, and you can, that's another thing. Melissa's right. You can literally just get your core curriculum, right? And then go to college. But here's the thing. Now that they're offering bachelor's degrees in these very on-demand, for these very on-demand specific jobs, it's not just like a field, it's a job. Like specifically, they're like digital forensic technologies. Do you want to train on, I don't know, do you want to train on Cellbrite? Do you want to get into Axiom? Do you want to learn a little bit more about how these forensics work and where you can get and you're not limited to police either. You can work for companies. You can work as an insurance auditor. If you're into financial auditing, that is huge. If you ever spent like 1 year doing tax preparation for like H&R Block, then you can handle that. And it's pretty cool because a lot of the work, it is remote. So if you're older and you have a decent background in computers, yeah, Shannon Burgess could have saved 18 years, you know, and he could have just done it all online through a community college course. And it's crazy because what I majored in back in the day was news writing editorial, and it doesn't exist anymore. They got rid of it because everything's online right now. It just, UNT had to make room. And so it's weird to think that like, as time goes on, you're seeing less and less majors that are focused on things that used to be paper-based or old technologies. And now there's new ones. And a lot of us have eased into this period with computers and with technology just on our own, just learning platforms. So if you're good at a specific platform, you could go work for TikTok and be 50. They don't give a fuck. They just need people who are willing to do the work. So if you need that, really consider looking into your community college. Check out if there's any sort of programs or scholarships for people over 30 or people returning to school. It's a lifesaver. Now, what sucks is we're in a period where Trump is fucking us on student loan shit. But if you're not worried about loans, and if you can, get on a payment plan, it could be worth it all in the long run. It really could. And especially, like, I have a friend, Machi, she was a wrestler, right? And a couple of conversations later, that was how I ended up enrolling in school, was we had a good talk. And we both talked about how we're getting older, and like we're both in fields of entertainment where I might not always be able to fly around the country and do stand-up. I might not be able to stand up. Who knows? She might not be able to get her ass kicked every night. So what do we do? What are we good at? And so that's what kind of led us both back to school. And now she's prepping for law school, and she is a certified paralegal. We both got straight A's. Like, we did a lot of classes online. And it was crazy how fast it was, luckily because of the pandemic. But it made me realize how, if I had been in this headspace that I'm in now of got to get your shit together, we're getting older, back then in college, I probably I don't regret anything about college. It was a great experience, but I probably would have gone into something more computer-based instead of focusing on, they used to say journalism is dead, but print media. It was a bad decision. Print media is dead. Luckily, I was still able to apply it for about 2 decades, but it was few and far between. It was a lot. Like, staff writing is hard to come by. It's a lot of freelance. So if you need the stability, really consider going back to school at a community college, or even just taking some certification courses. And if you don't want to go back to school, but you still want to learn the trades, you can actually do that through Ivy League schools. You could do that through MIT. You could do that through prestigious colleges in addition to community colleges for absolutely free. And they'll certify you, and you don't pay for the tuition. You just don't get the credit hours, but you still took it and completed it. So that's kind of a cool thing to think about. So with that said, as you know, Mia has a son named Heed. We call him that because of the movie So I Married an Axe Murderer, where the dad's like, Heed. He's a sweet little ginger boy, and he's going away to school. Okay. And she's on the road with him right now, going to college. And it got me thinking, because we did a prayer for him to Hugin last night. It got me thinking about back when I started college. I was 17. I wasn't even 18 yet. And there was a point in time where I knew, like, I'm going to have to move into this dorm, and I'm going to be, like, away from my family. And I was panicking. I was like, what am I going to eat? Like, I can cook, but, like, is there going to be a kitchen? Like, I was panicking. How am I going to make friends? Am I going to be able to do I have a phone in my room? Do I have to bring my own? Like, what do we do? So I went to the orientation, and then we had this thing where you, like, stay on campus for, like, a few weeks. And it's like part of the preparation. You pick your major, you go see all of your advisors, and it's in the summer. And then when I went for the orientation, which was during the school year prior, I think that was 2000, 2001. That's when I went and saw the Price Master and shit. And I was like, this is the town. Yes, I will live here. This looks awesome. But my first day of school, I was still terrified. And I will never forget that day, because that morning I had to get up real early so they could yank 2 teeth out of my skull. Okay. I had a wisdom tooth that was impacted in another. And I remember they ripped my teeth out, and then we loaded up the truck. And then me and my mom and my stepdad and my brother drove 8 hours through the Texas heat to get me there. And all I could think about is, like, I hope I can see all the friends I made at orientation, because the orientation in that period where you stay on campus before, it was so fun. And I met so many gay dudes that loved me. And I was like, I think I don't think they're going to hell. I think these people are maybe the best people on earth. Like, I remember, because I came from a school that had a tiny town, and we all know who the gay dudes were. There was like 2 of them, and everyone loved them. But it was still kind of racist and homophobic because it's Texas. And it's unfortunate, but like, you don't learn a lot about other people and other cultures. And liberal was like a bad word. And then I went to the most liberal school in Texas. And I made friends that were people that I didn't really know like existed out in the open, if that makes sense. I know it sounds crazy. Like, I had to unlearn a lot of things. Like, my parents never told me to be hateful, but the people around me, I saw them be hateful at times. I saw the way the environment was and society was. And that was when people were still like, you know, George Bush is fucking weapons of mass destruction, like 9/11, like all this shit had just happened. So everyone was paranoid. And I remember thinking like, man, I hope the school doesn't get bombed. Like, I hope that I make friends. My mouth hurts. I was on painkillers having an active allergic reaction in the truck. And then we got there and I just passed out. And my parents had to move everything into my dorm. And then I had to say bye to them. And I didn't want to. So I went and I stayed in the hotel with them that night. And they said, tomorrow, when you're feeling better, we're going to go look around the town. And we did. We checked it out. It was so fun. I remember there was a bookstore and it had like a maze in it. And you had to walk through this maze. And there were so many books. And I was like, I'm going to spend all my time here. And then we found a place on the square called J&J's Pizza. And I was like, I'm going to spend all my time here. But then I found the Flying Tomato. And I was like, this pizza is trash, but the food is good. Like, all the food around the pizza is good. Like the salad dressing. Like, I loved it. Took my parents to Cool Beans. We found a heed shop. It's called Zebra Heed. My dad's like, what's this building painted like a zebra? And we walk in, it's just pipes. He's like, it's drugs. And then we left. But I remember being so scared. And back then, everybody got their own P.O. box. You had a little post office on campus. And my mom said, every day, I'm going to mail you something. It's going to make you feel better. That way, you have something to look forward to. And I said, I'll do the same. And that lasted about a semester. Because after that, I was like, it's too far to go check the mail, Mom. Just do it like once a week. And then eventually, it went from calling home every night to calling home every other night to calling home once a week. And now this may be sad for the parents to hear from Mia, but my mom told me later that when she started like receiving letters a little less and less, or getting calls a little less and less, even though it sucked and she was kind of sad, she's like, I want to hear from my kid. She said that it kind of filled her heart because it made her realize, I have other shit I'm doing. I'm adapting. I'm making friends. I'm getting busy. These are good signs. This is signs of integrating into life, into the culture of school. And what's weird about college, and I hope if Head does listen to this, you need to know that college is a weird place that some people don't experience. Some people don't go to college. They go into the military, or they just, for a while I thought I wasn't going to be able to afford it. Some kids just don't go at all. So they don't get that. And some kids go to community college. You don't live on campus, right? So it's a strange experience because I don't know the percentage. Let's say half of America experiences it, right? But it's this strange time where it's a balance between high school and teachers telling you what to do and getting in trouble and having to ask to go to the bathroom, and being a full-blown adult. Because what it kind of teaches you is there are adults here who can teach you, but they don't get to tell you what to do so much. So, in my opinion, college is where you really learn to become a student. Because the way kids are treated now in high school and middle school, it's almost like an authority figure. Like the teacher is almost like the police, because you can get in trouble. You can be punished. But in college, when you don't go to class, or when you skip, or you don't do an assignment, or you don't speak up and ask like, hey, I don't understand this. Can you explain it? You're not getting punished by the teacher. That's not going to happen, really. You're just punishing yourself. And I think that that's the thing about college that is the most important. It teaches you that the onus is on you. It's responsibility. You're no longer going to have someone punishing you for not coming to class. You're just going to see yourself dropped one day if you don't go. And whose fault is that? Yours. And what is the punishment? Well, you wasted money. You just wasted money. So the big difference is you're actually paying for it. There's no one forcing you to go or punishing you. So you are paying for this service. But it's also getting your head ready. I think, this is my opinion, I think college gets your head ready, your head, to realize that you can learn from other individuals without them having control over you. It's okay to be a student and to have a teacher with a teaching mentality and not an authoritarian mentality. So you've got these people who are just helping you. It's not that they're above you or they're better than you. They're just other individuals who have a knowledge and they want you to learn it. And you paid them to learn it. So if you don't go, they kind of don't sweat it. They actually don't really learn your name unless you speak to them regularly. So I made a list for Heed and for anybody else who's going to college. There are a couple of things that I wish I would have known in college or that I just wish someone would have told me. And I'm going to tell that to you right now, Heed, if you're watching. The registrar, which has an R just kind of thrown in the middle of the fucking word. Makes no fucking sense. But that's what it is. It's called the registrar. It exists at every school. That's your best friend, Heed. It's not just for registration. It's kind of for everything. It's almost like HR. If you need something, you go there. Okay? They'll tell you where to go after that. It's like an information desk. Is something wrong? Go to the registrar. Like with your classes and stuff. Do you need help financially? Do you want to do work study where you're working to pay off school? Go to the registrar. Financial aid office, they'll tell you to go there from the registrar. But make friends with your guidance counselors. Make friends with your PA, your RA if you're living in a dorm, and get to know the registrar's office. Because when it comes time to get scholarships, or if you want to be a part of a student organization or you want to start one, or maybe there's something that you would be really good at, but you don't see it yet and someone else does, they'll tell you. They'll put you with a counselor who's going to tell you, an advisor. Advisors aren't there to tell you what to do. They're there to kind of open up other possibilities for you, and it's up to you to take advantage of that. You're never going to have anyone in college push you hard like you did in high school or middle school, and they don't really have an agenda. They're getting paid either way. But you have to remember that. And yeah, Peta makes a good point. If you have a disability, a learning disability, or anything, if you're a minority and you need to find the Office of Diversity, if you need to get like a scholarship, or if you need somebody who is taking notes because you have ADHD, if you're blind and you need somebody to help you by coming with you to class and taking notes, they will provide that. So take advantage of your advisors. Take advantage of visiting people who are there to help you succeed, because they're not going to visit you. And I used to sit around wondering, when is a counselor going to come make me make an appointment? And then I would see failed to make appointment. And I'd be like, what the fuck? Everything is your responsibility in college, because you're now transitioning into being an adult. And the only way you're going to learn is to get thrown in head first. So college is your opportunity to realize that other adults exist that are there to help you, but they're not going to force you. And that's kind of more of what the real world is like. There's going to be people available to help you, to talk to you at all times, but whether or not you take advantage of that is a big difference. Because when you're a kid, it's like, oh, you're being weird, you're going to the therapist. But as an adult, it's like, maybe you should see a therapist, So remember that. Here's another thing. CLEP exists. Now, I don't know what it's called in your state, but in a lot of states, it's called CLEP. It's a program where you can test out of a class that's really easy. If you realize that if Hayden is really good at math, like really good, and you're like, I don't want to sit in a classroom 3 hours a day and be bored because I know exactly what I'm doing here. You can pay the same amount for a credit, sometimes less, get all the college credits by taking one test, testing out. It's like saying, if you pass this test, we'll give you all the credits for that class. Do it. Take advantage of that. It's going to save you time, but really make sure that it's something that you are good at, that you know you can pass, and study. Here's another thing. It's okay to be homesick. That is normal. I was freaking out my whole first semester thinking nobody else misses home. My homegirl, whose parents beat the shit out of her whole life, was like, I kind of miss it. Like, she missed home. Sad, but it's true. Like, some people get used to what they grew up with and the people they grew up around. And it's okay to miss them. If your family watched Jeopardy every single night, mine watched American Idol. For me, I was like, I don't want my roommates to know I really like American Idol. Fuck. But guess what? A lot of people on the floor like that, on that floor of the dorm. So what do? We started American Idol night, ran by me and my gay friend Chris and Lauren. Lauren, who is a background singer for Todrick Hall now. Chris, who is a big-time real estate developer over where Elmer Wayne Henley did that shit. And we sat there, and Kelly Clarkson, she was a North Texas girl. So everyone was crying when she won. It was a big deal. So you might think other people don't like things, but you would be surprised. College is also the weirdest place you'll ever go. I remember we had a night called S&M night, and it was shitty movie night, where we just sat around and watched Mystery Science Theater 3000 style. We watched a bunch of shit, and it was fun. We watched really bad movies. And there were kids that showed up. I say kids, they're adults. They're over 18, but they'd show up in BDSM clothes. And we're like, what are you doing? And they thought it was actual S&M. And we're like, no, that's down the hall. There is a club for everything, Hid. Everything. Someone started a club called, like, I think it was called like When There's Snow or something. And it was literally a club that only met up when we got snow twice a year. And the whole purpose of it was to get some cardboard and ride it down a hill. That was the whole club. So if you have an interest or something that you like, but there's no club for it, you can just start it. And the school will register it. Go to the registrar. Tell them you want to start a club. Another thing, and I think this is one of the most important, you don't have to like your roommates. If you're being placed with roommates or dorm mates and you don't like them, it's okay. You don't have to be their friend. You really don't. I had an awful dorm mate one year. A semester, I should say. She was horrible. She was so mean, and she used to steal from us. And I remember me and my best friend Beth wanted to live together. And it was sad because you had to wait. You had to be appointed. Well, we went to our PA and our RA, and we talked to them about it. We got our own room together. So don't be afraid to do that. But also, if you don't like your roommate, lock your shit up and spend a lot of time outside because they'll be gone soon. You don't have to like them. Here's another thing. Go to the activities. Remember, go to the meeting. I don't know if you're here for that, Haid. If there's a meeting or an activity and you want to go to it or it looks fun, go. The whole point of having it is so people meet each other. A lot of people don't like to go to things without a partner or a friend. I don't want to go alone. That's why they exist. So you're not alone. Take advantage of it. Check it out. Remember, you might never see these people again. Colleges are huge. So go and try it. Just try it out. If you see something, I was in a Howard Dean for President group. And I was in that group for a while. And then he did the BIA thing. And the group was like, whoa. And I just didn't go back. It's fine. It's fine to try things out. Start your own club. We already went on that. If you don't see it, start your own club. Here's another. Keep a routine for your homework. You don't have to have routines for everything else. Everything else can be an experience you're trying out. But when it comes to your homework and your classwork, keep a routine for that. If I could go back and force myself to skip several bullshit parties I got dragged to so that I could study, or if I had just had an exact time where, nope, can't do anything else, this is my study time, I think I would have gotten along a lot better. And the pressure was there, like, oh, I have to. I'll do it later. It's fine. It's too much pressure. Sometimes pressure is good, Hade. Okay? Sometimes you need to be pressured. But the pressure is in getting your shit done. Get your shit done, and then you have fun. Reward yourself by going out and doing things once you've finished your classwork. And make sure you go. Just go. You can be hungover too. That's what K-Dub said. It's true. You can also have your pajamas on. That's the cool thing about college. There's no dress code. Also, Head, you're going to see a lot of weird outfits, okay? Because it's college, but it's okay. You're going to meet a lot of hippies. Never follow them to a second location. Do you understand, Head? Good. You're going to see people dressed ridiculous as fuck. You're going to see people in Pokemon fucking costumes in class and be like, what is that? You're going to see guys in dresses. You're going to see girls with beards. It's going to be fine. It's college. The important part is if you go to a party and there's a guy asleep on the couch and he doesn't live there and he's not enrolled in school, don't buy anything from him. That's all I'm going to say, Head. Next, talk to your professors. Again, stop putting them in a teaching, like, authoritarian position in your brain. It's different now. You're in college now. You can call them by their first name. I had one named Stradiva Pudapedi, and she used to always say, this guy, when she was talking about numbers. And she said, just call me Diva. So we called her Diva. Mary St. Clair was my other teacher. She was awesome. We just called her Claire. If you get to know them, they'll learn your name. If you don't, they won't. It's that simple. It's just like making friends. The difference is they are kind of obligated to talk to you and give you the information no matter what. So it's almost like you paid for a friend, but you're talking about school stuff with them. So take advantage of that. Like, go get to know your professors. Goof around with them. Here's another cool thing. In college, you can cuss and it's fine. Nobody really gives a fuck. You're an adult. If you say a bad word, you might see two people in class go, but that's it. Also, especially if you're in any liberal arts programs, Western philosophy, shit like that, you're going to hear some weird shit. You're going to hear people talking about, but what about Satan? What about the Puerto Ricans? What about the Puerto Rican Jews? What about Laura? People are very brash in college. They'll say what's on their mind. College is supposed to be this incubator for higher learning where it's okay to put out concepts that might be taboo. It's okay to say things that might not be of the norm, and it's okay to challenge things, and it's okay to have open, healthy debate. And it's one of the few places in life where it's kind of unregulated. You can actually be yourself in college. And I think that's what makes people go a little wild. So give healthy doses of yourself to people, but also accept healthy doses of other people. And understand that not everybody was brought up the same way. So you might see things that freak you out, but it's okay. You don't have to go with them, or you don't have to take what they have, or you don't have to believe everybody. But just be open to the idea that you're going to see a lot of shit. Maybe you're going, I thought this was a school. I paid for this. It's okay. You did pay for it, though. So go to class. Here's the other thing. Find your freebies, okay? You're going to see, and this is the last bit of advice. Find your freebies. They give you a lot of shit in college, like free shit you might not know about. My favorite was finding out about student medical services. I had no idea. Apparently, I had a form of insurance. I didn't know that till like year 3. I thought that you just go there if you need to get like a rabies shot or something. Nope. Almost every campus has a hospital on it. If not a hospital, it's like a student services center, like a medical center for your health. And that is in your fees. You've already paid for it. So if you get hurt, go to the medical center. Don't go to the local hospital first unless it's like an emergency. But go to the medical center, because You can actually get free shots, free checkups, free condoms. Hid, don't. But listen, you can go there for all sorts of shit. If you're not feeling good, if you just need therapy, that's actually available to you there. And I didn't know. I could have been getting free therapy. Not only that, food. A lot of people gain weight, especially if you get the food thing, where it's like at our school, at UNT, you just had to have your card and you could go to the cafeteria as much. And it's a lot of food and it's really good. Be sweet to the cafeteria ladies in college, because there's nothing holding them back from fucking with you. But also, be careful. Don't overeat. You're going to get wasted. Maybe, I hope not. But if you do, you're going to get wasted and want to go eat everything, because a lot of them are open 24/7. Just make sure that if you worked out, keep working out. Keep that energy up. Hey, did you know that you can also use all the fucking shit the athletes can in college? So if there's a track, you can go run the track. If there's an office for RTVF film students, then you can go use that office and you can use the equipment. If you need a camera to make a movie, you don't even have to be a film major. There's so much shit you can rent for free. There's so much available to you for free that you might not realize. So really look into it. I didn't know that we could get free frozen yogurt for like a whole semester, but you had to go to this other hall. I didn't know there were multiple cafeterias. I'd been the same shitty one. I went to the shitty one. I didn't know. Get to know that stuff. Take part in activities. But remember what I said at the beginning, and this is the end of my speech for HID, okay? Eventually, you're going to want to call home a lot more. You're going to get really homesick. That might happen. But just remember that at the end of the semester, when your mom's like, why aren't you calling me? And really chart that growth. Because while it sounds like it's not growth, it's like, that's sad. I don't want, no. It means you're busy. It means you got shit going on. Which leads me to tonight. We're going to talk about Brian Kohberger, who didn't have shit going on. And HID, don't be a Kohberger. This was a kid who only called his parents. And he kind of treated other people like shit. And he didn't understand a student mentality. He only understood a teacher mentality because he was a sociopath. HID. You can't be like that. So with him, he had a really hard time, it seems, kind of allowing himself to be taught. And when you don't allow people to teach you, it's hard to make friends. Because a lot of friendships and relationships, they're symbiotic, right? I'll hear you talk about your life and you talk about my life, or I'll talk to you about my life. It's a give and take. It's not required. It's just getting to know people. You have to try to put out an effort sometimes to be social, because other people can be shy too. So just be nice to everyone. Have a student mentality because you're paying to be a student. But also be willing to get to know your teachers in a way where they're not this evil authority figure. They're someone who's there for you to help you. But also, really put yourself out there. Try to be social just because life is already hard. And this is probably the only time in your life where you're going to have that sick balance between like childhood and adulthood, where you could still revert to, I want to go home and see my mom. And it's fine. But you could also be like, I got to get this job at this mall because this Spencer's needs me. With that said, I think you're going to do great, HID. And I think anybody out there who's going to college should know that, and I'm not saying, look, I'm just going to say this. It's okay if things don't work out and you need to take a year off, or if it's just not your cup of tea, or you need to switch schools. A lot of people put so much shame on the idea of, well, you dropped out of school. You did a Shannon Burgess. Well, you know what? Some people go through a hard time. And sometimes that hard time can be equated to failure, but it's not a failure. Sometimes it's actually a success to know when to bow out. So if it doesn't feel like the right place for you, don't try to make something work that you hate at your own like mental health expense. You can switch schools. You can switch programs. You can change majors. You can go to school for one major, it can disappear, and then you have to go back for another. And then 20 years later, decide I didn't like any of those. But the point is, you're paying for it. So take advantage of everything you can and don't feel bad about it. And also do call your mom. And if you need anything, we're here for you, Head. Unless it's like drugs or the antidote. Stevie has that. Anyway, welcome tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Kohberger. We're going to look at one report in particular. This isn't going to be the longest live on Earth because we have a lot of shit to do. Also, we are going to have some longer lives this weekend, and I think it's mainly going to be on the weekends because I am starting some new job stuff coming up. But I love you guys, and I thank you for being here, and I'm sorry. Also, yes, the old college try. That's where it comes from. But I thank you guys for being here. And yeah, like Shannon, don't do that though. Definitely would advise not graduating, but putting on your resume that you did. Yeah, don't do that. That's bad because they can check. Like, come the fuck on. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Only cry in the shower. And you might see people passed out in the shower. Go tell the RA, make sure they get help. And if you have a goth roommate and he's like, don't tell anyone I have a pet snake. Just tell them that he has the snake because you don't need to live with one of those. Anyway, did I see it was Clam's birthday? Clam, happy birthday. You know what? This is for you, Clam. Clam, this is for you on your birthday. This is from me and from the Hoogs who love you.
Get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't getting on the roof. Never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't getting on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy grill on the roof. Never seen a big boy grill on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy grill on the roof. Big boy grilling on the roof. Big boy grilling on the roof. Big boy ain't grilling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. How you do it like that? Damn, you got tools on your back. Climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Shit, big boy get loose. Shit, big boy get loose. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never shit, any phone on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy hop on the roof. How you do it like that? Look, shit, you just make a bet. Shit, pick up your back. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get your ass out the roof. Get your ass back out the roof. I ain't never see a big boy leap on the roof. Get the big ass.
Held accountable.
Robert, I've discharged my fluid.
What does that mean? What does that mean, Marcus? You took a pee?
It's over there.
Marcus, I'm not going to go in
It's kind
aisle.
of gooey and sticky. Goopy and goopy and green. Lick my
Ooh.
finger.
I'll pass for now, Marcus. Maybe next time. Old lady. But yeah, what can you tell me what aisle you discharged in so I can clean it? Where are you going? Yeah, it's a nice shirt. It's blue. I don't think it'll fit you, but it's nice.
I don't like this color.
I'm so sorry. Where's he going? All right, well, good to see you, Marcus. Watch out for the giant rat.
Tonight the music seems so loud. I wish that we could lose this crowd. Maybe it's better this way. We love each other with the things we want to say. Tonight the music seems so loud. I wish that we could lose this crowd. to pretend I know you're not.
I'm at home, baby. I'm at home, motherfucker.
Tonight the music sings so loud. I wish that we could lose this crowd. Maybe it's better this way. We love each other with the things we want to say. We could feel so good together.
Hello and welcome to the amazing world of cat massage. My name is Mary Jean Ballner, and this is my wonderful cat, Champion. In this videotape, you'll learn that your cat doesn't want petting anymore. Your cat wants a massage. And we'll be able to show you how, based on my book, Cat Massage. So continue watching, and you'll learn to bring on power purring and mega meow moments when to cat massage. Whenever. Computer keyboards, on the couch. Cat massage makes TV commercials bearable. And of course, on the bed. Our best massage techniques were developed here. Cat massage is the easiest way to produce a cat smile and is a reliable source for cat giggles. Listen closely for cat giggles. Sometimes, cat will approach you for massage. You know what that's like. He's rubbing up against you. Or he'll simply give you a look that says, "Massage time." These are the prominent chest muscles seen on proud bodybuilders. Remember the old Simon and Garfunkel song, "Slow down, you're moving too fast"? That says a lot about life and about cat massage. No more boring. Now, let's look at pressures. Featherlight. Barely make contact.
This is very important, by the way. They don't teach you this kind of shit in college right here. The featherlight, that's an old technique. This is an ancient Chinese secret she is sharing with you guys. How did you know at the exact time? At the exact time I'm bringing up Chinese secrets? A succulent Chinese meal? My Hugin legit just sat in front of me for a leg massage. She had surgery last year. Oh, what a sweet baby, Hugin. Hugin is more of a Reiki guy. He's really into that shit. What is that? I actually don't know what that is. Is that the thing where you play the sounds? He's not into that. He's not into that if that's it. Numbnuts is a funny word. I like that. It's also a good way to get bit. That is true. If you're looking to get bit, you can go to downtown Dallas or you can pet a cat like this. She is telling them everything. Any cat I've ever known would have done a rapid fire. Yeah, they would have gone bam, bam, bam. Which actually reminds me, Sassy sent me a video of a goat bashing into a woman in a barrel. So that's fun. Someone's home. Oh, go get him. Bite him. All right. Back to cat massages.
With your cat. Just feel for fur, like the touch of a fairy. When the purring becomes excessive, we call it power purring. Eyes blinking. Cat smiles. We've all seen cat smiles and they're glorious. Need we say more? Chest cupping. Champion and I did this as I was editing this script. And at one part, he wouldn't let me go. He was just sitting, resting, and purring. And I was typing one-handed. Drooling. In this case, a drooler is not a person specializing in rings and watches. Remember, you can't fool drool. Voice massage was created when I was at the computer and Champion wanted massage. We compromised and I sang to him, and I've been singing to him for over 12 years. One of our songs starts like this. Who's the best cat in the United States? It's you, Champer Damper. It's you. Use our song, change the names, or create your own. Wishing you power purring and mega meow moments always. Bye for now. Who's the best cat in the United States?
Her name's Mary Jean Ballner. I'm about to taste an energy drink called Alani. What is this? Witch's Brew. It's a caramel apple. Ugh. I always hate these. Oh, shit. Oh, ugh. I hate it, but it does taste like those caramel apple pops. Oh, ugh. Melissa says, This is Reagan era porn. And Tiffany says, kill me now. I'm going to put those on my credits one day for CrimeCon. Just kidding. I have not listened to your responses, by the way, of what you think about CrimeCon. There's been a lot of new developments. Apparently, they took back a promised invite to Turtle Boy and I think someone else, maybe Karen. I don't know. I'm not too caught up on that, but I saw some of it. Kind of crazy, like the controversy with CrimeCon. Are we going to do our mums? I don't know. I was hoping this would be a good mum year. I'm not going. It's too expensive in my opinion, but I did ask you guys not only how you would get out of war, how would you evade fighting for your country, but I did ask you what you thought about CrimeCon. And I told you, if you want to decompress and share all of your thoughts on CrimeCon, complaints or otherwise, if you like it, or also if you want to tell us what you do with that giant pile of wood in the Miss Muffy video, you can call 737-239-9112 and leave a message. And once we get enough of them, we'll do another Obology Line episode. Thank you so much, C-Line, and we're not done with that. I have more takes. I have so many takes, it's time to give. I'm going to do another. Maybe we can get her to get on here. You know, I did offer her a lovely Lane Bryant dress for court. She did not take me up on it. But oddly, Ashley Banban did a report recently on the Kohberger stuff, the Pullman documents that were just released, and the Lane Bryant murders. And it is on the list tonight, so everything goes back around, doesn't it? We're going to watch one more thing. And then I'm going to read you one of the Pullman reports that came in that giant batch of documents that just got dropped. I would love to read you all of it, but I am going to show you a little bit of why it's difficult to get through all of it. There's a lot of stuff to sort through. I think it's very important. Haley Dunn was in Texas. Yes, that is a Texas case, Sea Lion. Feel free to email me anything you need to. And I'm glad the intro song is stuck in your head. Clyde and Clem will be happy to hear that. Unless you're talking about MC Lunchbox, he will also be happy to hear that. MC Lunchbox with 2 X's, if you want to download that song. And Clyde and Clem's Whiskey Business, if you like the other song. So, with that said, yeah, that's another thing. I'll sell out to Morgan & Morgan, and you don't have to pay me to take a picture of me. As long as I can turn around during the picture, I'm fine with it. But if you have some thoughts, you can call our number and tell us about it. Here's the next video, and then we'll get into all the gabagoo.
It states, it's you, Champer Damper.
God damn it, I was muted this whole time. Listen, yes, come to Walmart. Is your hog on meth? How could you tell? How would you know? Yes, I love Squidbillies. Is your raccoon on meth? How could you tell? How would you know? We're about to find out. I just wanted to say thank you to all you for being little fuck faces and not telling me I was muted. Just kidding. Also, thank you to AJ and Sassy for both sending me this raccoon video of a raccoon with more meth pipes than your Uncle Dave. Please enjoy this video. It is real. Don't touch the trim. Absolutely don't. I love Granny Squid. She's my favorite. She's like, oh, my bones fell out again. And then all of her bones fell out. That was fascinating. After we watch Meth Raccoon, we're going to look at a Brian Kohberger report. And then I'll show you how fuckified the Pullman documents are. And we're going to listen to some shit Bam Bam has to say. Because I'm starting to... I really like her for the Brian Kohberger coverage. She's doing really great. She hasn't been evasive. She hasn't blown shit up that doesn't need to be blown up. She is pounding through those documents, her and Brian Enton. And also, it is the best show. It's the best show on earth. The song where he's like, love your fellow man for as long as you can. Till it's all about like submit to your husband lest your organs be devoured and everyone will feast on the damned. I love that song. When he's in church, that's his church song. Anyway, this is a raccoon.
Police in Summit County's Springfield Township have seen all kinds of strange things over the years, but nothing prepared officers for what they found during this traffic stop on Monday.
How are you?
So the reason I stopped you is you are suspended with a warrant for your arrest.
I am?
While speaking with the driver, 55-year-old Victoria Vidal Page of Akron, about an active warrant for her arrest and her suspended driver's license.
Is that a raccoon?
Yes.
A patrolman noticed something very unusual in the front seat of her SUV. A raccoon holding a pipe that is used to smoke crystal methamphetamine.
The raccoon has her meth pipe.
As what?
Now, the cop thinks this is very funny. The cop is like, well, look at him with the meth pipe. I don't think it's funny. Arrest that raccoon right now. We call him Craccoon. I don't know why he wasn't arrested and charged, but he was. And Jason's right. You should watch Squidbillies. It will change you. By God, it'll change you into something. And the guy who sings and does the voice is named Unknown Henson. And don't look up why he was canceled. Just enjoy the show.
Oh my God.
Her meth pipe. He's playing with the meth pipe right now. No, don't reach for it. That's evidence now.
After Victoria Vidal Page was arrested on the outstanding warrant, her mother told the officers that the raccoon is their pet and his name is Chewy. When the officer took the pipe from Chewy, the pet grabbed another pipe.
Oh, there's no way. He's trying to smoke it.
All right. Thanks.
There's no way. All right. Enough fun and games.
Based on the evidence provided by Chewy, the officers searched the SUV and found a bag containing 7 smaller bags of crystal meth, crack cocaine, and 3 meth pipes. Sadly, investigators say it appears Chewy the raccoon chewed holes in the bags of drugs.
Hey, buddy. This thing is cute, though.
Investigators.
That is the cutest raccoon I've ever seen in my life. Is Fed Smoker close by? This is a great question. I'm wondering if this is Fed Smoker's sister, because this is the most Fed Smoker shit I've ever seen next to Fed Smoker. If you don't know who Fed Smoker is, look him up. Look him up. Favorite quote from him is, "How you get a job here, fuckface?" Also, while Tiff is here, mahjong to you, Tiff. I'm wearing your bracelet. Thank you so much. I absolutely love it. I think the critter's alive and he's well. I did see somebody update and say that snitch ass raccoon is alive and well. I don't know if I trust them. It was on Reddit, but I like to believe that he got off of his addiction, stopped watching reruns of The People's Court and putting fucking aluminum on his windows, and went on to thrive. He went back to school. He's doing great. And a mahjong to you. Fed Smoker is buried in a cemetery in northeastern Arizona for unclaimed bodies. He also is intelligence, so look out. He might have never been dead. They found a lot of piss jugs on him in his car, though. I don't think his dog was with him. I hope his dog's okay. It's probably not. Ugh. Anyway, Fed Smoker does karate. He's not in rehab unless you want to call heaven rehab, but sure. Anyway, let's see what this guy has to say.
Are now working with state wildlife officers to determine if the raccoon was properly certified as a pet, which is required by the state.
Careful. Yeah.
We'll absolutely consider animal cruelty charges. And if we're able to determine through our investigation that that animal was affected in a negative way or harmed or treated inappropriately, then absolutely we will meet with the local prosecutor's office and pursue some charges.
All right. Well, your raccoon gave you away.
Based on the evidence revealed by Chewy, Victoria Vidal Page is now facing charges of possession of drugs and drug paraphernalia.
If it wasn't for the animal pulling out those pipes and then the officer seeing those narcotics in plain view, maybe the arrest doesn't occur.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based.
Yes, I love this mentality. Clearly, he's a pet. He's in a vehicle. Will he get deported? I don't know. Did ICE get a hold of him? I don't know. I hope not, but you got to keep it going, bud. You got to get her going, bud. That raccoon is feathering it at the Falcon Car Wash as we speak. El Salvador is where they send all the raccoons when they're hopped up on meth. And snitches do get stitches. That is true. Also, add that to Head's dossier. When Head goes to college, let him know, Mia. Snitches get stitches. This is Marshall's that gave that raccoon immunity and a new identity. Excellent. He's now eating hot dogs on a Canadian man's front porch, I'm sure. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Okay, moving forward. I just wanted to toss this in and let you guys know Law and Crime is on the case, and they said that there's new info in the Montauk Yacht Club death. I've not watched this yet. I just wanted to show you. The title is Bombshell Twist in Montauk Yacht Club Death Investigation. In case any of you guys want to know what happened there, I'm excited to learn, but we'll do that later because Ban's back. Ban's back, and she's got info, oddly, on the Lane Bryant killings. We were bringing up Erica earlier. And new Kohberger details. Now, I saw some of these details in some of the docs as I was going through them. So I know Ashley's not telling us a whole horde of lies, okay? Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of listen to at least the first part of it.
Approximately 5'10"
Because it's very interesting. And then I'm going to show you some of the other documents that I don't know if they've reported on them or seen them yet. But there's a very interesting report in there. I did see Paula Mooney on the list. So I'm sure that Plunder might have already made a video on it. I don't know. But there's a report in there that caught my eye, and I wanted to talk about that tonight. And then throughout the weekend, I'm going to be pulling all the interesting stuff. Before I let her play, I'm going to tell you this much, okay? Let me put this back on. So when I'm going through the Pullman documents, okay? Some of the things I noticed, I told you guys last night, they did not redact anything. I saw a post from someone in Pullman, Washington's Reddit page talking about how pissed they were because all the tipsters who called in tips in the Idaho case, not only is their name listed, but their phone number, their contact info, and they're like, they didn't redact it. That's so unsafe. That's not cool. And they were complaining. And I was like, wait, where is this? Because it's really in no particular order, which made me realize if that's what they gave the attorneys, shit, that's why Ann was so mad. It is tough to go through. There's a lot, like a huge breadth of information. And I started sorting through and I found all the tips in one specific folder, and they're right. They did not redact shit. That's crazy. I don't know if it's because it's so voluminous, but I would think over time that they would have shown that. And that's true. Jumpsuit Pablo does have that prison footage. Now that is from, I believe that's from the prison. That's not from the jail. It's not from Moscow jail or Pullman, I think. I believe that one's from the prison. And Brian Enton got down to the bottom of that. And I think someone's going to get fired for that. But I will tell you this. If you downloaded those documents, unfortunately, anybody who called in a tip, even the follow-up of the tip, even the little papers where the person's personal information is written down and it's on video and the cops are walking up to the house to be like, what happened here? All of it is included. They didn't blur shit. Like in the Pullman docs, everything is available. In some of them, there were even like really personal details, like socials, fucking license plate numbers. I don't know why they did that. I struggle with, was it on purpose to make it harder for the media so that we have to go through, or the like YouTubers and shit, or anybody who wants to put out any content on it? Did they just do that as a fuck you? Like, so people have to go through and take it all out themselves? Or is it a mistake? Regardless, if I were a tipster, I would be so angry that the entirety of the populace of the United States and beyond can not only access it, but they can see all your personal shit. That is crazy to me. Because of that, I'm not just going to willy-nilly go through all of it with you guys. I have to actually sort through it because I noticed that some people are, and it just feels wrong. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put people's personal info up. The document we are going to see today, though, the personal info is on the first page, so I'm skipping to the second. We're just going to read that after we watch some of this, and then I do have to go. I am prepping for a big episode this weekend with you guys, and I just want to make sure that I have everything on that redacted. That's taking a lot more work than I anticipated. Not only that, here's another shitty thing they did. When they released all of the digital evidence, including like the Axum footage and stuff like that, anything that came off of the cop's body cam, the audio and the video are separate. Now, all the video had no audio on it, and I couldn't figure out why. It just doesn't. Somebody told me that if I keep diving into the files, the audio, they said that it might be separate, that they think it's separate. I can't find that. So if it is separate, then I'm going to have to put it together. I don't know if I'm going to need a codec for that. I don't even know how I'm going to figure out which ones go together or if it's there. I couldn't find the audio, but it does make it really hard to decipher what the hell is going on and what report is attached to it, because the reports are also separate in a zipped file. So nothing's really synced. Nothing really has any context. There was one notepad that looked exactly like Brian's handwriting and had some creepy shit in it that people have been sharing online, and people were saying, we don't know what the context is. My dumb ass was like, well, obviously it's Brian's handwriting. And then someone corrected me and said, no. So I immediately took that down. But I mean, their shit, like, what is this? It doesn't say. It's just a picture of something. There's like an indiscriminate knife picture. And it's like, is this from the house or from somewhere else? There's a knife that was found outside of an apartment, and then a report attached to it, and then body cam footage. And it turns out that's a guy who's homeless and has mental health issues who's throwing a knife at a tree. But those are all in separate files. And the picture of the knife it's grouped within a set of files that has statements from the Idaho kids, but it's not, or from the house, but it's not in the Idaho files. It's in the Pullman, Washington. But you realize that it's a response to a follow-up about what is this knife from. So it's very confusing. The one report that I thought was interesting and intriguing enough to bring up tonight is about a burglary, and it had Kohberger's name in it. And this is a Pullman doc. So I believe this is possibly a break-in that happened with the young lady that he worked with, it seems. But either way, it is crazy. And it also includes some information that I just thought was, yikes, is this him practicing? I don't know. So I was going to read you that, and we're just going to watch a little bit of Bam Bam covering this, because I do have the documents to back up what she's saying. So I feel confident, like, this is great news. This is great information. And I actually like that they put it in a succinct order, and she got some thoughts on it. So I'm like, let's watch this together. And then when we go through the files, I can show you where she got that. So here we go. This is Ashley Banban. And they're talking about the new docs that were just released. One of them in the Idaho grouping, because she does bring up Pullman and she brings up the Idaho documents separately, but she's basically just referencing them. In this case, one of the documents that she found in the Idaho stack has Dylan giving her recollection of what happened that night, saying that Brian used Kaylee's name. And I thought that was fascinating, and that is there. So it makes me wonder if that's why Steve said that Kaylee was targeted and is certain of it. And if that's why, then that makes a lot more sense. A lot of people were like, why is he saying that? Well, now it makes sense. And I think this is a big thing to get across, because to all the pro burgers, out there. How do you explain that? So let's go ahead and watch.
Hi, everybody. We begin tonight with what might just be perhaps the most breathtaking piece of news to come out of what's been a flood of case files and court papers in the Brian Kohberger, Idaho saga. A possible answer to the burning questions that Kohberger would not answer and authorities seemingly couldn't find out. Why that house? Why those victims? Who among them, if any, were specifically marked for death? Page 3, paragraph B of a new document from the Idaho State Police describes an interview with a surviving roommate. That's what they say, a surviving roommate who, from everything we know at this point, must have been Dylan Mortensen. And I want to read it specifically for you. Sometime in the early morning hours, Redacted was awoken and opened her room door and heard a male say, quote, "It's okay, Kaylee. I'm here for you," and crying. She then shut the door a short while later. She opened her door again and saw someone approximately 5'10" tall, dressed in black with a ski mask, standing in the kitchen. This is absolutely stunning information. According to a surviving roommate, the killer, Brian Kohberger, used Kaylee Gonzalez's name before he ended her life. If that surviving roommate was right, he knew who Kaylee was. He knew where Kaylee lived. And it might just have been a targeted attack with Kaylee Gonzalez being the target, or at least one of the targets. Here's where I want to add some context, and it's important context. From the thousands of pages of case files that we have been reading since this crime was committed nearly 3 years ago, that surviving roommate, Dylan Mortensen, gave more than half a dozen interviews to the police after the murders. And while her story has remained really, really consistent, most of the answers that she gave about what she heard that night included hearing the words, "It's okay, I'm here to help you." "It's okay, I'm here to help you," without Kaylee's name attached. So this is the first time we're hearing that at least one of her statements to the police included hearing the killer saying Kaylee's name. There is also this from Washington State University, where Kohberger was teaching as an assistant. He was pursuing his PhD in criminology. And we knew that he was unbelievably unpopular there. We knew that there was friction, especially with the female students and the female colleagues he had. But in these new documents that we've been able to obtain, they're still not public, but News Nation has obtained them. In fact, Brian Enton, my colleague, who's been working doggedly on this story for the last almost 3 years, was able to get these. We're told that a criminology professor issued a stark warning Brian Kohberger might just become a predator. And again, in these documents that our Brian Enton has been able to obtain, this is what this professor says. Kohberger is smart enough that in 4 years, we will have to give him a PhD. Mark my word, I work with predators. If we give him a PhD, that's the guy that in many years, when he is a professor, we will hear he is harassing, stalking, and sexually abusing.
So this is very important. I think that based on what a lot of the people who were students under him said, remember why I was talking to Head earlier? I was saying, like, these people are on your level. Like, just because you're being taught by them doesn't mean that they're like a supreme authority figure who can punish you. Like when you're in middle school or something, like you're essentially paying for a tutor. Brian took it to be an authority position. And remember, he was a security guard, and then he applied for that internship. And he, again, reminds me a lot of Kemper, like kind of obsessed with authority. So putting himself in an educational environment for thought for learned individuals, for people who want to have that sort of incubator, and then to behave in this manner is very strange to me, because so many people reported it. But not only that, like, it was so well known that a professor is talking shit. Like, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, Brian Enton's YT, his YouTube channel is incredible. He's so great. I told you he has dragon blood, right? That's why his hair never moves. Now, Ramsland has said the opposite. Ramsland said, and also remember, Ramsland isn't the one who gave him his PhD, who wasn't in charge of that. So I think this is a different professor. Ramsland said she saw no side of that and that she felt guilty for not seeing it. So I find it interesting. And don't worry, I'm going to give you the date of that when I go through the big document drop. Because what I'd like to do is take all this shit that Ban and Enton are revealing and show you exactly where it is. Because what they're saying is true. It is backed up. Oddly also, there were things that we heard before the documents were dropped that are now backed up by the documents. And I think that's important too, because that now makes sense why they were so concerned about a leak. At first I thought, a lot of the stuff that was leaked is stuff that we've already heard, or that maybe Steve said in a podcast. But then when you realize they were actually talking about some other things, and it has to do with the tips, makes you wonder if Pullman might have been responsible for that. I don't know. I'd like to suss through it. But we're going to let her continue. I'm actually going to speed it up a little bit. And then I'm going to read to you that document, and then we're going to call it a night, because we are going to go over a lot of documents this weekend. And you remember when we did the 8-hour policies and procedures? We're not going to go that hard, but we're going to go pretty hard on it. All right. And yes, I know what I just said. So let's go ahead and let her wrap up some of the more interesting things that I at least have documentation for to show you this week. And then I'm going to read you one of the other things, one of the other reports. And then I'll play you something cool, and we'll say night. All right. Here we go.
These were words that were spoken months before the murders. This is where I want to bring in News Nation producer Allison Weiner. She has been digging through these documents at breakneck speed, and she joins me now with much more. Allison, I think it's around 600 pages that just kind of landed with a whump into your lap and Brian Enton's lap. So let's plod through this together. It's breaking news, so my apologies if we're inartful in this, but it really seemed to be information that stayed under wraps for a very, very long time, that it is possible Brian Kohberger said the name Kaylee as he was going through his killing spree in that house.
Yeah, it didn't really shock me, because we look at other documents where Kaylee told multiple friends and acquaintances that she was being stalked, Ashley, that she was being stalked, and that she was concerned about it. And she even told a story that came up in several witness interviews that we've already reviewed, that she went outside with her dog, that her dog was out there, she was letting him pee, and she saw in the distance a shadowy figure. And this happened on more than one occasion, but the last one being about a month before the murder. So we've all been wondering if that wasn't Brian Kohberger out there in the backyard watching her and planning and plotting, because that is the entrance. He came in through the backyard through a sliding glass door. So the fact that we're hearing from the surviving roommate that he mentioned her name kind of tracks with the multiple accounts of Kaylee talking about having a stalker. And I think that was pretty fascinating to me.
And, you think back, now the house has been torn down, but before it was so scrutinized. This is the front of the house. These forensic investigators all went through the basement door, but on the third floor at the back of the house, that's where Maddie's and Kaylee's rooms existed, and they had windows facing the back. And if you go up around the left side of the house there, where that long, big, tall tree is, you can actually peer into their window. So you're right. When they made these reports that there was something out in the bushes that the dog Murphy kept running to, those would be the back bushes. And when they said they saw a figure back there, that would be in the back bushes facing right into Kaylee's window, and of course Maddie's window as well. Okay, let's talk about this this incredible series of reports that police were able to interview and get this information out of the Washington State University colleagues and professors of Brian Kohberger. Not only did they say that he absolutely had to dominate every single conversation, dominate to a point where people didn't want to be around him, but that he humiliated some of the female students. And there was an account where one of them was humiliated by him in the classroom and had to leave in tears.
Yeah, you know what? The only thing that all of his colleagues and his classmates seem to agree on is that they all disliked him intensely. You heard different things. I mean, some said that physically he was overwhelming. He would stand too close, that when you tried to get away, he continued talking. One of the professors said she was walking to her car and he followed her. She began to get an escort. She asked physically that is apparent in all of these different colleagues and other students talking about him. It also sounds as if he did a lot of what they called mansplaining. I mean, he was talking to one of the other students at a barbecue that happened before classes had started at Washington University, and she was relaying what her research was, and then he proceeded to teach her and tell her what her actual research was and explain it to her. And at that point, she decided that that's it. She's not going to have much to do with him. Documents, 13 complaints filed. And it wasn't just the female students who found him abhorrent. It was also his supervising professor, or a professor that said to him, that said that he would come at the end of the day, he would not disengage. And this is something that the women said too, that even when you said, I can't talk now, it's too late on a Friday, I need to leave, he followed and he kept talking. And they actually got into a bit of a yelling match about it. So it sounds like, from all that we're reading here, that he was universal.
And isn't it crazy that of all the professors that one Ashley lady chose to stalk and blame, it was the one who absolutely had no idea. Oops, who had no idea who the fuck he was. And then this professor who actually got stalked by him, like we're finding out now, is just wild. I mean, no one deserved to be stalked, but it's kind of crazy because even the professors who were kind of in the clear and didn't know anything about the situation ended up getting stalked by people on the internet. So that's not healthy.
And at some points, it became very threatening for some of the female students.
They all said as well that it was so palpable as a group what it was like to be around him, and how much as a group they did not want to be around him and disliked his mannerisms. And like you said, his mansplaining. He even mansplained to men. Like you said, he would tell people about their work or their research or their courses. But there was something that they decided to do as a group, and that was, let's count the number of times this guy shows up late for the female professors' classes versus the number of times he shows up late for his
Exactly
male
the type of
professors'
shit
classes.
that a group of angry bitches would do. I would do that. Like, okay, let's do a little experiment. But it is true. It's like a lack of respect for women. He's a woman hater who's a mother boy. Also, he calls his parents mother and father, like, to their face, which I've said it before. Remember, I told you that one guy called a family member called Roseanne mother. Her son called her mother. And it made me go, ew, I love Roseanne. No, because that's a weird dynamic. I don't like it. Something about saying mother, father, just like as an adult, it freaks me out. Like, don't do that. That's also, Jesus Christ, he's got googly eyes.
What were the results?
Well, the results were that he showed up quite a bit late. It was way more. He never showed up late for the men. He was always late for the woman professor. And she actually called him out on it. And he got very awkward. And she said, oh, you're on time. You know, the one time that he actually showed up on time. The other thing, too, that you notice with the female students is they also talk about the staring. And one of the students, or I believe it was one of the students, described it as trying to be like dominating and to control, like to stare at someone, because he had a weird stare. And something that we've all remarked on watching him in court, seeing him in person, that he just would continue to like stare at people. And it was very unsettling. I mean, we know what he did, so it adds to that. But even before that, people were remarking on the stare.
A lot of very odd people who stare, and the first crosses your mind is not, I wonder if quadruple murderers always means so much more. This next piece really reminded me, and I read every word of their path to getting him his PhD because he was so bright. There was nothing they could do about it. They would have to give him that PhD. But she feared that he would be a predator to his future students. Not to mention maybe anybody else in his path. This I just want to read it again because it's just so jarring. Kohberger is smart enough that in 4 years, we will have to give him a PhD. Mark my word. I work with predators. If we give him a PhD, that's the guy that in many years, when he's a professor, we will hear is harassing, stalking, and sexually abusing. They actually started discussing, Allison, a way to put the brakes on this process and to stop him from becoming a PhD. What did they talk about? What were they able to do?
Well, they were able to stop his funding. I mean, and he was being paid to be a teacher's assistant. They were able to stop that. I think a lot of how they managed to stop it too was because he had gotten into a yelling match with his supervising professor. And I think that it wasn't just the women saying things about his behavior, but also the men. I have to tell you, it's pretty shocking, but you have to give, props to this professor that she was good enough, I guess, in this is what she taught in criminology, to understand that there was something wrong with this guy. I mean, 13 complaints is a lot of complaints. And these complaints, one male student said he was going to make a complaint, but he didn't because they weren't anonymous. So these complaints had names attached to them. And the professor at one point actually notes during one of the conversations.
And I want to stop right there. We're going to end it at the halfway point because there's some other stuff I want to find more documents for. But I want to stop right there because she just made a great point, didn't she? A lot of students did not want to make complaints because they weren't anonymous. How do you think the tipsters are going to feel in Pullman and Idaho and Pennsylvania? Do you think that if they see something, they're going to say something in the future now that they've been outed and all their personal private information has been given away to YouTubers and the media? Some of the most intrusive people. I mean, I feel uncomfortable covering cases and I redact a bunch of shit. Like, I cannot imagine why anyone would not keep these things anonymous other than, I mean, if there was no method of follow-up, sure. Like, you don't have to take every tip as a blanket truth. You can investigate them. So it's important to have anonymity promised to people when it comes to things like, especially like sex assault and stuff on campus. That's a huge issue right now. How rare complaints are, Stevie Irwin? I think, okay, so again, when I went to college the first time and I was stationed in and around the registrar's office, we would talk about things like that because there are departments you can make complaints at. In college, it kind of differs. Like, you would go to the dean first, right? So I know in our journalism school, specifically the dean of the journalism school, his desk and office were right next to ours. And I was a head writer for the yearbook, which was weird. It was really a lot of that. And then when I worked for the newspaper on campus. So it was odd that like we were so close in proximity to the dean because not only could we get questions answered about stories and things happening on campus, but we might overhear something, which kind of became a problem because if we overheard too much, we're reporters, so what do? It was pretty rare. I mean, again, this was a long time ago. Actually, it was 20 years ago. So back then there was like 2 in the whole semester and it was the same guy. And I'm not going to say his full name. His name was Mike. He was a fucking weirdo. And he did end up going to jail for like trying to break into a student's apartment, but it was a different situation. I think he was trying to steal back something from a guy, but it was still weird. Like it's not that often that the TAs, almost every time there was a complaint, I mean, it was always like this TA is too hard on me, or this professor gave me a poor grade and promised me that this question's answer would be this, or, I'm not getting what I paid for. Like, it usually has to go with the give and take of the teaching relationship. It's not so much behavior or a social thing. So not only do I think that they're rare when it comes to like your TA or your professor, but usually they're not of this subject matter, at least when I was in school. Puzzle Pieces, thank you so much for that super sticker. You know what has to happen now? You know what has to happen now? This.
Get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't getting on the roof.
Never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't lay on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy grill on the roof. Never seen a big boy grill on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy grill on the roof. Big boy grilling on the roof. Big boy grilling on the roof. Big boy ain't grilling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. How you do it like that? Damn, you got tools on your back. Climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Oh shit, big boy get loose. Oh shit, big boy get loose. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never, oh shit, any phone on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy hop on the roof. How you do it like that? Oh shit, you just like a fat. Oh shit, pick up your back. Oh, I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get your ass out the roof. Get your ass back out the roof. I ain't never see a big boy leap on the roof. Get the big ass off.
That tells the police that there are two students that the police could talk to about Kohberger. This is, after the murders and talk about how he behaved in class. So I think that as a group, they came to find out a way, like if you don't pay him, they were not going to pay him for being a teaching assistant. And he was fired, and then there were appeals on that. And we did report on this. This kind of leaked out early in the investigation. But we never heard that there was actually a professor who recognized the threat that was inherent in Brian Kohberger. She recognized it, and she wanted to stop it before he was in a position of real power over a lot of female students.
Well, and just in retrospect, I call it the crimson tide of red flags.
Speaking of crimson tides, how are your periods? Just kidding. Okay, so we're going to end it there for this. All right, because now I want to read you something else. And I think it kind of goes along with this because it is weird. This was included. Here, let me stop sharing that. I'm going to share another page with you. Now, you might hear squeaky toys in the background. That's Hugin. Yes, honey, I see. Having a time. I'm going to read you this, and I'm going to tell you goodbye. Oh, is that his squeaky ball? Can you come squeak it close to the thing? You guys got to hear how loud this ball is. This is the squeakiest toy. Here. Also, welcome Dad's boyfriend's going to do it again. Wait. That is how fucking loud. They can see your phone. They can see your passwords. That's how freaking loud that ball is. So sometimes I'm like working at my desk and I'm trying to pay attention to something, and he's next to me doing that like 100 times. It's so loud. Oh. And he loves those balls. He loves chewing them up so much. It's so fun for us. Every time, yeah, you get a heart attack. Sorry about that. Poor Stevie. The squeak is coming from inside the house. Exactly. It's so, and he'll just sit there and he'll just press his little face on it. Do you hear it? Just wee, 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 like the whole time. It's so fun. There's mandatory reporting is a thing. The problem is campuses. I mean, if they respond, somebody said up there, who said that about Larry Nassar? That's a big thing. People reported Larry Nassar. They reported the shit out of that perv. HIPAA says that. They did. And the FBI didn't do shit. I mean, the school didn't do shit. The FBI had to step in. Yeah. And I do wonder if they wouldn't have if it wasn't tied to the Olympics. If these were just students who didn't absolutely intend on being Olympic bound, would they be involved? I don't know. But if you look up Steubenville, which is that's a very famous case, Anonymous had to step in. That's how fucking bad it was. So that's what's going on there. Another thing, before we read this report, I want to let you guys know. There is a new, speaking of Ramsland, Ramsland is being featured in a new documentary right now that's out on the ID network, or it's coming out. It's about Elmer Wayne Henley and Dean Corll. How interesting that right when we finish talking about him, not only does he come up for parole, but now they're making a whole ID doc about it. And I have to say, I watched the Yogurt Shop Murders, the first 2 episodes you guys recommended. Damn. It's a nothing burger as far as new evidence, but as far as new footage and new perspectives and seeing what the original investigator went through, Josh, and all the just the entire layout of it, it reminds me of the Idaho doc. It's so well done. I'll eat my hat. It is a great documentary. Getting to see the Ayers family and getting to see one of the victim's sisters and her relationship with homegirl from 48 Hours was, whoo. I was crying last night. He was asleep. I was just bawling in bed next to. It's honestly, it's a much needed breath of fresh air. HBO's fucking killing it. And that one documentary from Idaho is killing it. The Richard Allen one, though, oh my God, not killing it. There was a lot of shit out of context and some just blatant bullshit in that. And I have a lot of thoughts on that. I'd like to have Turbo and Teddy here to go over some of it with you. Some of it you saw live. So I find it interesting, the picking and pulling that was done for that one. But that's just my opinion. Okay. Now, was that from your butt? That was wild. I don't think you guys heard that, but that was weird. Okay. So we're going to wrap it up with this. I'm going to share this full screen with you from the case reports. And there's no audio on this. Okay, good. And I need to make sure it's on the right page. Okay, good. I'm going to read this to you. So sit back, relax. And I'm going to make it big so that everybody can see it. And I'm going to take down the chat that covers it. So this is one of the reports. There were references of this in a couple of news reports, a couple of media entities. I know Paul Mooney talked about it. A Plunder. I'm pretty sure she talked about it. She's on the request above it. Now, here's the thing. I'm not showing you the top pages because it includes a lot of personal information. Again, anybody who FOIA'd, my name's in the fucking Idaho docs. How crazy is that? But anybody who FOIA'd and their personal shit's in this. And then, luckily, I didn't FOIA this one. Whew. But it's just got a lot of personal stuff. So we're not gonna look at that. Okay. So we're just going to look at the narrative part. All right. And it does have the person's name in it who called it in. But I think it's fine. Like there's really no way around it because this person has been mentioned before anyway. So this is the narrative. This is the document. I'm going to make it full size. And then when we're done, I will play you an outro video. And thank you guys, everybody who came to watch the live tonight. Thank you for listening to that loud squeak of that ball. Wish they could have heard the squeak of that ass. That was crazy. Okay. So, synopsis. Unknown person entered a residence, brandished a knife in the bedroom, and left. No suspects or leads, case inactive. So this was about a year before. And I just think it's interesting. Now, some people were saying that this couldn't be Brian because he wasn't there. Other people were like, he was there. Others said that he could have been touring the campus. Regardless, this is a crazy report. And I find it interesting. And I'd like to just make sure and see, is it possible? His name is also listed up at the top. It has a list of like suspect, witness, interviewee, and his name is listed next to suspect. Now, I don't know if that was implemented after he was caught, but it looks like this report is from before. But it also has the FOIA listing. So I would think Kohberger was at least considered for this. And there's a reason why his name is attached to it, okay? So here is the case. This is from Officer Harris. Here's the narrative of what happened. On October 10th, 2021 at about 3:30 hours, so 3:30 in the morning, which, damn, that's a weird time, isn't it? I wonder if that has any significance. Pullman officers responded to 305 Northeast Ash Street for a report of a burglary in progress. Dispatch said the complainant reported her roommate just saw a male with a ski mask and a knife in the house. Upon arrival, I met the female who saw the suspect, Alex K. Miller, at the back door. Now, this looks strange. They don't mean that Alex is the suspect. That is the female who saw the suspect, just to be clear. I directed the four residents. Very interesting. Yes, there were more in Idaho, but there were 4 victims. I thought that was weird. I directed the 4 residents of the residence to their vehicle in the back driveway. They requested we search the residence. I asked them to stay in the vehicle with the doors locked as we searched. That's a very smart cop. Officers searched the residence and did not find anyone inside. I spoke with Miller. Miller said she was asleep in bed in her room in the basement when she awoke to her bedroom door being opened. She said she saw a person enter the room and approach her bed. She said the person was wearing a full-face burgundy ski mask and was holding a knife in their right hand. She described and demonstrated the person holding the knife up to their right with the blade coming out of the bottom of their right fist. She said when the person got to the edge of her bed, she kicked him in the stomach. She said the person fell back against the closet but was still standing. She said the person immediately booked it, leaving the room rapidly, and she heard them run up the stairs. She said the person was silent and did not say anything the whole time, which is also very creepy for some reason to me. Miller said that she then put on pants and went into Sadie Merchant's bedroom next to her own. She said she told Marchant what happened, and Marchant called the police. She said while Marchant was on the phone, her 2 other roommates, Caitlin and Alyssa, arrived. Miller said the back door of the residence was unlocked prior to Downing and McCullough getting home. Miller described the suspect as about 5'3" to 5'5". Now, this is the part everybody argues about. Couldn't have been Brian. Fair enough. I see that. That is spooky still. And she did not know if it were a male or female, although she did say he above didn't know if it was a male or female. Fair enough. She said they were wearing a burgundy full-face ski mask and what may have been a dark crew neck sweatshirt. She said they were holding a knife with a blade similar to but slightly larger than a typical steak knife. Also not a K-bar, still weird. Miller did not have any suspects. She said her roommate sometimes played pranks on her, but never like this, and would not have taken it this far. She said she'd been part of a sorority her roommates were in, but Miller was not currently a student or part of the house. That's also interesting to me because Kaylee was no longer considered a student or part of the house as she was moving out. She said she did not have any problems with the house. She said she worked at Zoe Cafe in Pullman and was going to start work at 6:30 hours. I also find it weird that Maddie and Xana, right, worked at a cafe, and I wonder if Zoe Cafe caters to vegans, but simultaneously, I wonder if this height differential could simply be because she was laying down in bed when it happened. Who knows? She said she sometimes had customers that were odd or creepy towards her, but she did not think any of them would know where she lived. She said she did not bring anyone to her home. Marchant told me she was in her bedroom in the basement next to Miller's bedroom. Marchant said she had been in bed watching TV, but still awake. She said she did not see anything, and the first thing she heard was the sound of someone running up the stairs. She said then Miller came into her room and told her what happened, and Marchant called the police. I gave Miller my card and the case number and asked her to contact me, blah, 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 okay? Officer searched inside, outside. They didn't find anything, no suspects, no leads. Now, let's take that down because now we're done with that. So, here's one thing. They do have his phone records. Was he in the area? Here's the issue. Remember, he put it on airplane mode. So we're going to look through the docs. I'm going to look through the docs, see if I can find anything on that. But what I found is odd is that even in the FOIA release, it shows him listed as a suspect. It also says that this case is inactive, but that they never caught the person. A lot of things ring true and are similar to Brian being the time frame, right? The height, which good point, Tiff. Exactly. Like the perspective could be off, or she could know. You know, she said that he fell back, or this person fell back, but they were still standing. But she's laying on a bed, right? So that could be it. But then you have to look at the differences. The burgundy ski mask, the kitchen knife. This could have been practiced, though. This was a year before. using the same color ski mask and the same type of knife would probably be a bad idea, even though you're in the next state. So he might have changed that up. However, what feels the oddest to me is the time, right? 3:30. And then the victimology. This is someone who is out of school, but used to be in school, used to be in a sorority specifically, just like Kaylee. Someone who worked at a cafe in the area, very much, in my opinion, like Maddie. But also at the same time, a lot of other things are the same, especially the time frame. 3:30 in the morning is a very specific time. Not a lot of people are up at that hour doing that kind of shit. And also, one roommate still being awake, watching TV, kind of reminds me a lot of the situation with Xana still being on the phone. He hadn't ordered the knife yet, or maybe he hadn't decided there's something that's specific too much to be a coincidence, right? It feels weird. Now, here's what I'll tell you before we go. In the Axum video files that accompany this, the body-worn camera, there is one that I believe says from Ash Street, but you can't hear it. So you see them, I guess, go back to revisit the house a year later to talk to these people. And the 4 people, like, there's a lot of common things in there. So yeah, there's no audio on it though. So it kind of, I don't know, it kind of ruins the whole point of including it. But yeah, it's there are things that he might have changed up, but it could also be someone totally different, which is terrifying. And I was looking into how many reports Pullman has of shit like this a while back when the first leaks of this story came out. People started talking about it. There was also another couple where someone broke into their house and attacked them. And I believe that was in Oregon. And that was around the same time this was released. Pullman does not have a lot of reports like this. There's something like less than 10 in 10 years. So like, it's weird behavior. Now, whether he was there at all or whether he was visiting or whether it was even him, who knows? But his name is at the top of the report under suspects. And that, I believe, was done after he was caught for Idaho. So, yeah, exactly. Same Megan, who is bullying me, and I will call Morgan and Morgan. Makes me side-eye too. So anyway, that was the one that I wanted to show you. I think that's going to do it for tonight. I'm going to let you guys go on this, and I'm going to remind you, always be on the lookout, because Head is going to college, and Head might, Head might become the next Elon, and we want to be nice to him so that he will curse us with whatever his version of the Cybertruck is. Okay? But also at the same time, be nice to everyone around you. Don't do goofy shit like breaking into people's house at 3:30 in the morning, and watch Squidbillies. It really is a very good show. I think the best thing I could end on is probably this. Good night, and thank you so much for coming.
Drive the fuck up there, or you're gonna get booted the fuck out of here. I know, fine. Enough. No, you're not a tough guy. Hurry up. I'll fucking promise you that. Hurry up. He's pretty tough. Not that fucking tough.
No, he's not.
Not that fucking
He's not.
tough.
He's not tough.
No, he's pretty tough.
He's not tough.
Fucking tough.
You're not tough.
Hey,
You're not tough.
Let's get going.
Get going.
Or you can play behind us all, and you can take all the fucking time you want. This is
golf.
fucking
You're not
embarrassing.
tough.
This is golf. This is not
Yeah,
golf.
it's not.
You can stand there 15 fucking minutes.
You
That's
can't
not
even.
golf.
You guys can't even stand and tee your ball up, man.
He's teeing up, man. That's fine. He's not teeing it up. He's standing
Do
there.
we need to get the
moron.
police out here?
No, we don't need police. We're not.
Okay, then let's get going here.
Let's go. Pick your shit up and get going. This is not fun. We're what? I'm gonna throw him in this fucking lake. Is what's gonna happen. No, fuck you both. This is fucking bullshit. They've been sitting there for fucking 23 minutes.
Well, cry about it. Fucking cry about it.
I'm going to.
Fucking cry about
I'm
it.
gonna fucking
You
cry about
fucking
it.
pussy.
I'm a pussy.
Like, fucking cry about it.
Buddy, you're gonna get fucking shit to.
I don't give a fuck.
Like badly.
Good. Let's
Fucking
fucking go, man.
Buddy, you don't want to go me.
No, I'm not filming this. I'm not stopping. No, you guys need to get off the golf course.
Yeah, we will, man.
No, now. Like, pack up, Go now. Get in the car and go.
I don't know what you're doing. You're not scaring anybody. You're just making yourself.
Hey, man. Come on, man. Hey. Hey.
Off to a good start, buddy.
I fucking told you!
Man, leave him alone. You want another?
He
You
just
want one
fucking
too?
came at me.
Leave him alone, man. I got it all on record.
It's around the goal.
I got it all on record.
Around the goal. Hey! You wanna fucking go, guy?
Leave him alone. Hey, leave him alone, man.
I wouldn't keep going back, you fucking moron.
Hey. Come on, man. No, I'm not trying to get in there. Like, just like, fuck me.
Enough! Are you still cheering on you?
Yeah.
Enough! Get out!
Hey.
Enough!
Hey, leave him.
Get him the fuck out of here! No, it's not gonna go well for you.
It's not okay.